I think it's on. Is this thing on? I think it's on. It's definitely on. Sheesh. I had to turn that down real quick. Y'all heard that? Listen. Rain seeding in Texas is about to go down. Listen, I need to have a conversation with you guys. I'm halfway not a conspiracy theorist, but like I said, I'm a super realist, and I feel like everything that's happening is they're putting it in front of your face, and then like it's up to you whether you want to question it or not. I'm just questioning stuff like, is that all right? Like, and I'm catching some of the sign. I'm catching some of the stuff y'all putting down. You know what I'm saying? What is going on?
One
Listen.
somewhat scientific,
Okay, so this is
skeptical question that I think you're ready to answer.
Rainmaker. Okay. Can we be honest? His name is Rainmaker. His name's not Rainmaker. I'm sorry, that's not a gentleman's name. He is a Rainmaker CEO. What is his name, sir? I would like to know your name because I think you're awesome. First of all, because you are very smart. You're CEO of that particular company, which you don't seem like a CEO that just runs a company. You seem like a CEO that actually knows, how the company runs and so forth. What is your name? Wiki. All right, that's him. Exclusive cloud seeding rainmaker. All right, let's go to Wiki because I need the info. All right, August Dorico. Augustus. His name's Augustus Dorico. All right, let's go. Let's go to this AI overview about Augustus Dorico. All right. All right, y'all ready to rock? Let's go. The Rainmaker CEO is Augustus Dorico. Dorico. Augustus Dorico. Augustus Dorico, or is it Augustus Dorico, or is it Augusto? I'm sorry, bro. No disrespect. I'm just having a good time. Okay, so Augustus Dorico, Augustus Dorico. I mean, there's so many ways to pronounce his name, and I don't want to get it wrong. That's why I'm doing it so many different ways. I just do it in English. Augustus Dorico. That just doesn't sound like how his culture would say it. I don't know what his culture is though. Like if they're like Spanish, they'd be like Dorico, Augusto, Dorico. Anyway, Augustus Dorico. He is the founder and CEO of Rainmaker, a cloud seeding company that enhances precipitation, through an advanced radar and drones. Dorico has recently been in the news discussing his company's cloud seeding technology in relation to Texas floods. Okay. Oh man, no, not the Adiante. You gotta get out of here. All right, this is Augustus Dorico though. Dorico. I mean, you know what I mean? He's a young billionaire if he's not a billionaire yet. But anyway, check this out.
To hours and hours of your content and
All
rant
right.
about Rainmaker.
Where's my
And the
volume?
question that process then
No,
helps
we gotta go.
trigger for facing so many of the questions that have come your way over the last couple. Steve Bannon, you're here today with me to
No.
If you have the right kind of radar and you fly in
operations on July 2nd, just
Let's
days
go.
before the deadly Texas floods.
Okay,
Now
Texas
some
floods.
are questioning whether or not that flight played a role in the floods. Joining me now to explain is the founder and CEO of Rainmaker Technology. It's Augustus Dorico. Augustus, great to see you. Thanks for being with us here today, and thanks for facing so many of the questions that have come your way over the last couple of days.
All right, Augustus.
the last
He's probably
week.
like a
You have
Viking.
appeared with Tim Pool, Dinesh D'Souza,
I'm sorry,
Steve
bro.
Bannon.
I'm
You're here
just
today
like
with me
Augusta.
to take these issues
I know.
head on.
I'm being mad.
So let's start
I'm
with
profiling
what
like
cloud
crazy.
seeding is. Would you talk to me about that versus the other forms
I'm
of
just
weather
interested.
modification?
Absolutely. So
In
cloud
culture.
seeding is a technology that was invented in America in the 40s
by the
for
way-
the sake of creating more water.
This guy right here broke it down very smooth. So smooth, man. he broke it down so smooth. Like I understood exactly what he was saying. So here we
safe.
go. Let's keep going.
Absolutely, it is. And
When
thank
he
you for
gets to
asking.
like
So
talking about
silver
Texas.
ice in silver of about 8 parts per trillion.
Yeah,
and
this
there's
is where
already
he's
about
breaking
2
it down. You
parts
gotta
per
watch
trillion,
this
and
yourself,
I totally
okay?
think it makes sense to ask it. My intention is to serve God. Then we should deploy those
Okay. Oh,
for the sake
this
of
was a
The
great
research you've done
question.
on what you use to cloud seed. Now, I want you to
Check this
please
out.
address a larger question,
A
which
larger
is
question.
one that is somewhat broad and perhaps even religious. But are you playing God? Are you messing with things that you shouldn't be messing?
Like, think about that question. He's like, are you playing God by making it rain when it's not raining naturally? That is a great question, right? Get in the comments. Get in the comments. That's a great question. You know what I mean? Like, you're making it rain. Like, I know there was rain dances, right? There was rain dances. Is that racist? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be racist. But listen, I know there was other ways of people trying to make it rain, right? But this is like, hey, listen, I figured out how to make it rain. Is that cheating? Is that being trying to be like God? Like, what do y'all think? I'm gonna play what he says, but what do y'all think? That's very interesting. Cause I feel like as we'd be like, hell yeah, that ain't natural. But as it's like, all right, well, listen, if we can use this opportunity when we can, you know what I mean? I don't know. Let's go.
With when it comes to the weather?
I get this question all the time, and I totally think it makes sense to ask it. My
Okay.
intention is to serve God. I think that in Genesis 1:26 through 28, and then throughout the Psalms and the rest of the Bible,
Yep.
God tells us to take dominion over and steward creation, both for our sake, creation's itself, and then to honor Him. And so, if
Okay,
there
take
are
dominion
droughts
over,
and we
which
have
is
the
the earth.
tools to mitigate the damage done by them for our sake and for nature itself, then we should deploy those for the sake of tending to and stewarding the world. And if we were
Man.
to do that, if we were to ban cloud seeding wholesale, despite knowing that it's safe, despite knowing it could help alleviate these problems, we'd be abdicating our God-given responsibility to be stewards of the world.
Okay, let's address whether or not it's safe now,
All right.
and apply it to what you were doing on July 2nd.
There's a part in
Texas.
this
It's a very
interview I want you
emotional
guys to
moment.
listen, and
People are upset.
I'll say bingo
Children,
when it's that
hundreds
time.
died.
Okay.
The question
Now
is
he's talking
whether or
about
not
Texas.
Rainmaker,
I'm gonna say bingo.
cloud seeding on July
Just listen to
2nd
this part
contributed
and
to
listen for me to
storms
say
that occurred
bingo.
on
It's
July
towards
4th.
the end of the
Did it
conversation.
enhance? Did
Check
it
it out. This is
intensify
important.
what we saw some 36
So
to
he
48
asked
hours
him-
later?
Unequivocally,
He just asked him.
our
I know I was
cloud
talking
seeding
through it,
operations
but
on
check it
July
out, check it
2nd
out.
Contributed to storms that occurred on
They're
July
asking him if-
2nd in Texas.
So they cloud seeded in Texas in that area on the 2nd. The flood happened 2 days later on the 4th. He's asking them, did your company or your cloud seeding have anything to do with those floods? This is the answer.
Texas. This is a very emotional moment. People are upset. Children, hundreds
yeah.
died. The question is whether or not Rainmaker, cloud seeding on July 2nd, contributed to storms that occurred on July 4th. Did it enhance? Did it intensify what we saw some 36 to 48 hours later?
Right.
Unequivocally, our cloud seeding operations on July 2nd did not impact the flooding that
He
occurred
said no.
later. And that said,
Not guilty.
my heart and prayers are still with all the people of Texas and all the families that have been affected. It was a
Okay.
tragedy. But in cloud seeding on the 2nd,
Yep.
one, we are regulated by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, and we have what are
All
called
right.
suspension criteria, where if there are National Weather Service flash flood warnings or severe storm warnings,
Suspension.
then we cannot operate in those areas.
So, all right. So if there's a flood warning or something, there'll be like suspension. Suspension means you can't do something, right?
Per
All right.
the restrictions and regulations we have. Our meteorologists actually proactively suspended operations a day before the National Weather Service issued
A day before, which would have been like on the 1st? He suspended on the 1st, but let y'all go on the 3rd? I mean, on the 2nd? That might have been a problem.
Silver iodide
Might have
into
figured it out.
clouds. Targeted clouds, which use radar to target these clouds that you think could produce moisture but haven't yet. And you've talked
I
extensively
ain't
on
said
many
a
of
B
these
word
shows, like
yet.
the Sean Ryan show, about you've studied silver iodide, you know
Okay,
the
so this
effects
is
of
how it
silver
works.
iodide. Is this safe?
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah,
And thank you
that's
for
a great
asking.
question.
So,
Is it
silver
safe
iodide in
to
cloud
put
seeding,
silver
right? We use about
iodide
50
in this
grams
grain?
per operation.
Listen to this.
That's something like 8 to 10 Skittles worth, and that gets distributed over hundreds of square miles, right? After decades of cloud seeding operations, because Rainmaker is not the first one to have done this.
Okay, so just gotta say, the reference made it sound really safe. 8 to 10 Skittles worth. Skittles are delicious and sweet and yummy. But this is silver iodide. I don't know if that's something that you can eat like a Skittle. Is it? Can you answer that? Can you eat a Skittle worth a silver iodide and be okay? How much silver iodide can you ingest or be on your skin and for you to not to be completely affected? That's the difference because Skittles are although we know they got like sugar and some chemicals in it, I don't think a Skittle ever killed anyone unless they choked on it. Anyway, I'm just being real. See, look, I haven't done any research.
That's right. There have been companies since the 50s conducting cloud seeding ops. After decades of operations
Let's just
in the
keep it
regions
real.
where cloud seeding has occurred, we've only seen an increase in silver of about 8 parts per trillion. And there's already about 2 parts per million naturally occurring in American
So with that math, that's quick math. 8 parts per trillion, 2 parts per million. That means I don't understand what the fuck he said. Let's keep going.
soil of silver species. So we've added, after decades of cloud seeding, 1,000,000 times less than what's naturally there, and it's had no adverse.
Okay, so actually, I do understand a little bit. So 2 parts per million, trillion, and 2 parts per million, and then the million take. I still don't understand that fucking math.
Ecological or agricultural impacts.
Okay, and people can look.
Augustus, pull up, bro. You seem like a cool dude. Real talk. You like real talk. I hope you know that I'm trolling and I'm just like, watching your show and I'm understanding what's going on, but I hope you know that I'm not like a hater. You know what I mean? I don't know about the Texas thing. Relax. I don't know about the Texas thing, but I know you're not a bad guy.
Listen
All
to
right.
longer form interviews that you have done about some of the safety and research
See?
you've done
Look, anybody that gives a thumbs up is like, yeah, thanks.
on what you use.
But you know
to
what?
cloud
I'm
seed.
not like, why? I don't know if there's somebody behind the scenes like, yeah, you want me to kill him? And he was just like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I want you to please address a larger
let's see
question,
that
which is,
again.
Or agricultural impacts.
okay, and people can listen to longer form interviews that you have done about some of the safety and research you've done on what you use to
That
cloud
thumbs
seed.
up wasn't for
now,
you, bro.
I want you to
That's
please
talking.
address a larger question, which
So you
is
wanna kill him?
one that
Let's
is
kill him after.
somewhat broad and perhaps even religious. But are you playing God? Are you messing with things that you shouldn't be messing with when it
We
comes
already
to the
went
weather?
through this, right?
I get this question all the time, and I totally think it makes sense to ask it. My intention is to serve God. I think that
Okay.
in Genesis 1:26 through 28, and then throughout the Psalms and the rest of the
You
Bible,
going crazy.
God tells us to take dominion over and steward
He's a
creation
smooth
both
talker.
for our sake,
He's a
for
smooth
creation
criminal.
itself, and then to honor Him. And so, if there are droughts and we have the tools to mitigate the damage done by them for
Let's
our
go.
sake and for nature itself, then we should deploy those for the sake of tending to and stewarding the world. And if we weren't to do
criminal.
that, if we were to ban cloud seeding wholesale, despite knowing that it's safe, despite knowing it could help alleviate these problems,
All right,
saw
let's go back to the
some 36 to
Texas
48
flood.
hours
Here we
later.
go.
unequivocally our cloud seeding
This is his
operations
answer.
on July 2nd did
Unequivocally,
not
we
impact
had
the
nothing to
flooding
do
that
with
hours
it. Let's
later.
go.
Unequivocally our cloud
Let's
seeding
go.
operations.
Unequivocally. I
What
like
we
that
defy,
word.
what we storms that occurred on July 4th, did it enhance? Did it intensify what we saw
Okay.
some 36 to 48 hours later?
Pay attention to this. He said, did it enhance? Did it have anything to do with it that we see in 48 hours, right? Right? That's exactly what he just asked him, right? Did it enhance? Oh, okay, I'm going to go back to it.
Unequivocally,
Because
our
that's
cloud seeding
important.
operations
Before
on
I do
July 2nd
bingo,
did
Hours later, did it intensify storms that occurred on July 4th? Did it enhance? Did it
okay,
intensify?
let's go back a little bit.
Cloud seeding on July 2nd contributed to storms that occurred on July 4th. Did
2
it
days later.
enhance? Did it intensify what we saw some 36 to 48 hours later?
Okay? You heard the question. Here's the answer.
hundreds of square miles.
No!
That was diminished.
Hours
I
later.
skipped.
Unequivocally,
Storms
Okay.
that occurred on July 4th, did it enhance? Did it intensify
check out the answer.
what we saw some 36 to 48 hours later?
unequivocally, our cloud seeding operations on July 2nd did not impact the flooding that occurred later. And that said, my
Unequivocally.
heart and prayers are still with all the people of Texas and all the families
Yeah.
that have been affected. It was a tragedy. But in cloud seeding on the 2nd, one,
Okay.
we are regulating.
Next time, don't say "but" after you say it. Listen, this is etiquette. I'm learning this. Right? Don't say it was a travesty, but see that means. But on the other hand, right? That's what you're saying. See, this is where you're like, this is not even the bingo.
Regulated by the Texas Department
Okay.
of Licensing and Regulation.
All
We have what
right,
are called
hold
suspension. But in cloud seeding on the 2nd, one, we are regulated by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, and we have what are called suspension criteria, where if there.
So he said, basically, if y'all not paying attention, he said, yeah, a lot of people died, but he said a lot of people died, and that's really tragic. We feel so bad for those people. You know what I mean? We feel so bad. But on the 2nd, this is what happened. He said what had happened was, what had happened, brother?
National Weather Service flash flood warnings or severe storm warnings, then we cannot operate in those areas per the restrictions and regulations we have.
Right. Okay. So there's people that say no, you cannot. There's a flood warning. You can't go today. Okay.
Our meteorologists actually proactively suspended operations a day before the National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning. So we were.
So I'm guessing. I mean, when he says that, when was the national flood warning? They flew on the 2nd. So was that the 3rd or was that the 1st? Right? I don't know.
We were ahead of the curve there, and then even so, the precipitation that we induced, right?
Yeah.
Like the very best operations can produce tens of millions of gallons of precipitation over hundreds of square miles.
Hundreds of square miles, tens of millions.
That is de minimis relative to the remnants of the tropical storm that came in and
Yeah.
dumped trillions of gallons of precipitation.
So you were able to produce, in short, something like this much rain, less than a centimeter of rain, and the flood itself, the storms themselves, it filled up a 20-foot pond, an Olympic-sized pool, 20 inches of rain. And so your argument is, if anything, we contributed the tiniest bit. I want to end with one.
Bingo! It seems like he agreed to that, but I don't think he actually did. So what do you think? You know what I mean? And this is the. Oh shit! Y'all all right? Are you okay? That sound was crazy. But yo, make that into a beat. Somebody make that into a beat. Yo, so the long story is, I only did that segment for y'all because there was a whole bunch of flooding out here in Massachusetts, and that is because the flooding from Texas. I mean, the way it works, I believe it goes a little bit like, east towards like the Carolinas, and then it goes up towards New England. So we got a lot of that flooding today in New England, and I'm not laughing at this, but listen, this old man, this older gentleman, elderly gentleman, maybe you could say, he's older. I don't know how old he is because white people, but I feel like okay. This is sad. Okay, this is so bad. They pulled him out of the car, and oh my God, look how bad this is. They have three people having to carry this older gentleman. Yo, that is horrible. Out of the car. Look at, he's on one's back. This lady, officer, God bless you, is holding one side, and this gentleman officer is holding another side. God bless and thank you to these Braintree police. Look at what happened. Okay, please note that the water is waist deep. Waist deep. Look at this poor gentleman. And thank goodness for the police. Heroes in the making. Heroes in action. Look at, they went up this hill to put this man down because they had to carry him. And what does he do? He gives this man a pat on the back. And Listen, this man could have walked out the car. Stop playing. You could have walked out the car, bro. I'm big mad they had to do that. I love the Braintree Police for this. Shout out to the Braintree Police. They did a great job. This is unprecedented at the least. Look at this rescue. It is amazing. This should be a statue. This gentleman with the guy on his back is the hero. He has him on his back. This lady is amazing. This other gentleman, look at his gun got wet. Look, and then they put him down so gently, and he pats him on the back as he stands on his 2 feet. As he was in 3 feet of water needing saving, they saved him out of 3 feet of water. Amazing. Amazing save out of 3 feet of water. Absolutely amazing. Thank goodness, if not for these Braintree Police. I'm not trolling. This is a great moment. I just feel like this gentleman right here probably could have got out the car and walked. All right? This is not a shot at Braintree Police. I think they did what they had to do. You can tell by his face. He's all like, come on, let's do this. You can tell by her face. She's all like, all right, if we really got to. But honestly, it's not a current. Look at the water. There was no current. He didn't want to get wet. He's an elderly man, but all right, I'm sorry, bro. I'm happy you're safe. To this gentleman, I'm happy you're okay. All right, I do apologize for being upset that I think you could have walked out the car and you just didn't want to get wet. You know, sometimes you gotta get wet, bro. It's okay. You know what I mean? You could have walked out the car. I mean, I know the cars are wrapped, but you know, I don't know, bro. You're okay. Anyway. Thank goodness that everyone is safe. Nobody was in real danger on here. All right. That's it, man. Is this thing on? Did y'all like that stream?